Hello and welcome to another episode of Cloud Chat with Stephan and Matt. I'm one of your hosts, Stephan Stelter. Pleasure to see you again. And I'm joined by
Matt Brown. Always great to be here. And we have a great guest today.
Yes, we're excited.
His second appearance.
Indeed.
He's asking for commission checks, by the way, Stephan. We're going to have some talk here. So
we're going to do that in the form of likes. All the commission checks are done in the form of likes for videos. Welcome, Scott Stanford. Could you remind everybody what it is that you do for NetApp?
So I work within IT on the platform side. So Kubernetes and automation around Kubernetes. Yeah, that's probably the main focus that we have.
Right. Again, obviously a very hot topic. You know, customers, almost every single engagement I have going, we have Kubernetes. We really want to understand it, what you experience. So definitely a high topic there. And in the last episode, you really talked about, why we're looking at Kubernetes and some of the great proof points. The big giant customers are doing it. Amazon, any type of service that probably any of us engage with are Kubernetes. Our own support site's Kubernetes. So you did a great job really talking about the benefits there. So now let's explore a little bit more. I know, Stephan, you have some burning topics here.
I do. I have a couple of questions. The least burning of the burning things.
Least burning?
So when some people
the smoldering one?
Yes, there's the smoldering one. K8s, Kates. Do you have a preference? Do you look down on people when they say Kates versus Kubernetes? Do you have to say Kubernetes or not?
He's gonna get up and walk out. You've offended me.
No, you've offended me. Just throw your desk. Forget it. I'm out. Hanging up. How do I hang up this dumb thing?
It's not quite as bad as different shells, C shell and bash or VI and Emacs, but people tend to pick one and they stick to it. I don't have a problem with people saying Kates, but I say Kubernetes.
Do people look down their nose a little bit at the Kates people? Kubernetes is got it. So personally, I will do VI. I was told early, learn VI because it doesn't matter where you are. You can always use VI. Everything's got VI. So I know just enough VI to, I was going to say to not delete lines of code, but I do actually know enough to do that. Escape KK, like there's things I know how to do. But yeah, okay. So that was one burning question. Thank you for answering that one.
That was a smolder.
That was
sorry.
Yes, that was the low boil. But the other one was around security. I was having a conversation.
That's a burning one.
Someone about Kubernetes in general, and one of the things that we're talking about the flexibility of deploying in a Kubernetes environment, and you can just script it. So when you bring the container up, the container is going to go and pull the latest this from this repo and that from that GitHub thing, and then it's going to deploy and build, and it will deploy itself, and everything will be magical. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. Except, well, how do I trust those repositories? How do I know that what I'm getting is good and blessed code and not injected in some bad way? And then paranoid Stephan freaks out. Like, what are the real exposures? Is there one? Are there some best practices on the security front that folks should be thinking about as they embark upon their Kate's journey, Kubernetes?
Yeah, so like most things, you should only pull things from places that you trust. I mean, the big different registries that are out there. I mean, those are the ones, typically okay, but you still want to have some type of image scanner that's running on your site. Ideally, before you get to where you're deploying, just make sure there isn't something in there that's doing something bad. I mean, that's probably a big one. We have scanning built into our pipeline. So when people deploy, they're deploying through the pipelines. It doesn't actually finish the pipeline until the image gets scanned to make sure it's safe, and then it gets deployed or it passes the pipeline. We also have our own registry servers. We're not using the public ones as much. I mean, we're pushing our own images internally, and we're consuming some external ones. So we're it's not like we're developing code and we're using Docker Hub to push stuff to. I mean, it's private from that sense, which is definitely a good practice to have. And having registry servers is good because you can cache images. So let's say for Docker Hub, for example, if you're not logged into Docker Hub, you have a 200 API limit per hour. So you think NetApp, well, if we're not logged in and we're just hitting it with just anonymously, we hit that 200 pretty fast. I mean, with all the development we have going on. So one of the things we do is we have our Artifactory instance set up, so we're using that as a cache. So we talk to Artifactory, an image isn't there or there's a new one, it reaches out to, let's say, Docker Hub, pulls it, if it's not there or it needs an update, pulls it down, and we consume it. So next person comes along, they're not making that pull, they're using the cache copy, which also allows, if we need to do any additional scanning, here's a collection of all the images we can go through and do scanning on.
And so how much of that ends up being third-party capabilities that we need to pay somebody to provide for us?
So there are open source tools for doing it. I'd say most enterprise customers probably have some security vendor they're already working with for other things, and they likely have tools and probably use the paid versions of different tools to do the scanning.
And so does this turn into like I'm just thinking analogies here. What is it, like an AV server from back in the day? Is that what's happening here? How does this work? Is it a plugin? I feel like the backup software, like, well, you just need to get the plugin for this database, and then you can quiesce and we'll back up that database. Is it?
So there are tools out there where you can just do that type of scanning, like, back in the day, McAfee just running, doing a scan on files.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these days, if you look at Kubernetes, it's quite often that you have, security InfoSec deployments in all your clusters, just additional layer of security. They watch what's going on, and depending on how you have things configured, those, that sort of infrastructure could block out anything that's dangerous. I mean, you have something deployed, let's say you have some CVEs against it, you never got around to fixing, and InfoSec could say, oh, today's the last day for you to fix it. After that, your application won't be accessible. Click a button or whatever they do, and your application is still running in Kubernetes, but it's jailed. You can't get to it.
Wow.
So I mean, it's really down to that level too. And there's a whole range in between just the image scanning, just here's an image, scan it, to having that type of infrastructure where things can really be walled off. Matt could have something running in the cluster and you'd be fine, and Stephan, you could have something running in it that you violated some policy or whatever, and it's running but walled off and you can't get to it.
I'm a little offended that I'm the one who's doing something that needs to be walled off, but that's okay. Matt's fine.
You're
Matt's
asking the
everything
question,
perfectly.
so
I see how. So clearly, I'm trying to be.
You're the troublemaker, stuff.
Like, yes.
Come on, we know between the two of us, it's you.
Well, and I void warranties, so clearly that's got to have something to do.
Yeah, you're admitting it right there, man. I see right there in the back.
Guilty.
Hey, so kind of along the same topic, monitoring, our friend Mike Eubanks has to run our global center. Does this change the way we monitor or respond at all in that day two world?
Probably a different type of monitoring. So we ingest everything in through Splunk. So if you're looking, again, traditionally, VMs or even physical, you'd have to say this physical node, whether it's in your CMDB or something, or VM, is tied to this group. How we handle it in Kubernetes is each application has a 3-letter code assigned to it. So we know that this 3-letter code maps to this application. And then on the Splunk side, we have dashboards set up based on your 3-letter code. So you can see information just related to what you're doing or your team's doing, and not everyone else. I think you can probably get to everyone else through Splunk, but you're going to be interested in just what you're doing, what resources you have, any crashes you have, or overutilization things. You get that view in kind of one nice dashboard.
Very nice.
It feels like a build your own choice that we've opted to pursue, right? We're just firing everything into Splunk and then pulling the data back out of it. Or there are a lot of libraries, capabilities, plugins in Splunk that make this a more natural thing.
So there's a lot of capabilities in Splunk, and we have a Splunk guru in one of our teams, and he created the dashboards, and you just go in, you hit this combo box, and you just change your application code. You as an application team didn't have to do anything. You're just consuming something that was created, and it's based on queries in Splunk. So it's, if you did it for one application, other than doing the combo box and that generalization, it's pretty, you can snap that out against the other two other codes.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer too, because probably people listening to this, especially going to Kubernetes, my always worst fear is you go to new technology, you have to throw out all the other stuff you're doing. We're using Splunk for other monitoring. That's not Kubernetes. So it just becomes another thing that our working scalable tool sets ingests in and we monitor away. So I think that's a great answer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know that a lot of our customers and partners are talking to their end users about monitoring and some of the things that you can do. And some of the folks don't have a Splunk guru on site, and they leverage things like our Cloud Insights capability, where we can put a collector in the environment and observe what's going on in the containers and provide a collection of dashboards that are pre-built and ready to go. So Cloud Insights gives that for on-premises infrastructure or for Kubernetes clusters that are in the major cloud providers. We can get some instrumentation together and help you understand where some of the exposure might be from a reliability perspective. So fun capability that we have.
A great point, a very great point. Anything else that's on fire in your head about?
Yeah, there's always something on fire. So the other thing that I wonder about,
you got one more. You got one more.
I only got one more.
Quota's done.
It's a multi-part fire there. No, when you think about applications and how we're providing them inside of these environments now as containers, and then one of the things that we just talked about was, okay, for security we handle that with some of the analogous container scanning, antivirus kinds of things, right? We're doing some work there. But I wonder about, I used the backup analogy before, like what do we actually do for backup? How do you protect a collection of containers? How do you protect an application that's deployed as containers to be able to restore it? And is it the same kind of thing? Are people writing container backups to tape? Is that a thing? Where does it go? How do you back these things up?
So when you deploy something, typically that's going to be something that's pulled out of source control, Git or some other SEM system. So you already have most of what you're doing there, and it's more along the lines of the transient things or the unique data that's in a PVC or something like that you're probably going to be more concerned about as far as the backup. And there are ways to do backups. For example, like an Astra Control Center can do backups. You can do per namespace or filter things down, and it will pull all the data out and store it elsewhere. And then if you need to restore it, you can either do that full backup or restore into another cluster, or you could select which subset of data that you want to restore.
Yeah, I'm one of the fun things that we do at NetApp is that Astra Control capability that we have, whether it's the service or the center if it's an on-premises deployment. But I'm trying to get my brain around, what does it look like if you aren't using a tool like Astra? Is this a collection of scripts that you would write? Would you try to, well, we've got some persistent volumes, we need to mount them somewhere and back up the data for those persistent volumes? Or how would somebody do that if they were just getting started?
So there are some open source tools out there that will do some similar capabilities, not quite all the bells and whistles, but it does allow for some backups. Depending on how you're storing your PVCs, if you're doing NFS, for example, that's a lot easier to back up and restore than something else, because you can just mirror it or something similar to a different SVM or server. And there's different ways. It really varies on your infrastructure setup and what you're trying to accomplish.
Gotcha. Yeah. So shameless plug. I just recently found out about the Astra Control service and how it is free for the first 10 applications for our customers. I mean, try it. If you're not sure how to do it, you want to kick the tires on something that makes your life a whole lot easier. It is a very elegant graphical way that can also be API driven. So, and once you figure out how you want to protect the applications, you can get the API calls and put it into some.
The first 10 applications free. Why aren't people using
this? I know. It's relatively new, which is great. It's based on technology that we've acquired and developed over the past few years. So it's getting more and more mature as it goes. But very excited to see this first 10 free is a relatively new thing. So
I love it.
Absolutely. Good stuff. So those were I think I asked my multi-part data backup, data protection questions and security questions. Anything burning on your side, Matt?
No, I think this has been great. For me, it's a huge education. And like I said, one of the main topics of conversation is Kubernetes, and people want to know how to get started. They want to understand all the aspects we talked about, the monitoring, the security. We have great ways of leveraging new technologies, whether it's Cloud Insights, whether it's Astra. It sounds like we have a lot of ways to help customers and a lot of experience to share to help customers get started.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great stuff. Scott, always a pleasure to have you. Thanks for joining us for another Cloud Chat. And thank you all, listeners and viewers, for participating, hopefully via the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would love your feedback, would love you to subscribe, would love you to like, send alerts, do all those fun things.
Comment.
Yes, Matt loves comments, so we want to hear from you. And
we'll give Scott a quarter for everybody who gives us a comment.
That's recorded, so
it's recorded.
That could be a lot of quarters.
That could be a lot of quarter. Hopefully it is. And then also too, a quick plug. NetApp is about sharing these experiences. So if you're interested, netappit.com, come check us out. Subscribe to your YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, comment. See you next time.
Good stuff. Read Scott's blog. He's got some good stuff.
Read Scott's blog. Yeah, netappit.com. He did a great blog.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.